So the Davos fever dream is over. The delegations are now down from the mountains and the SEC Newgate team has also returned. This, of course, was a meeting dominated by Trump and his eventual U-turn on tariffs. So Naomi and I are delighted to also be joined today by SEC Newgate's trade specialist, Alli Renison, for her take. We'll come to Alli in a moment. But first, Naomi, as I said, 1 week on, my take on it was that this was probably the most successful Davos to date. We had Larry Fink getting Trump there and a string of US CEOs in particular. What are your reflections now we're back?
Well, fever dream it certainly was. I would say, yes, I agree. It has been an incredibly successful Davos. However, speaking to some of the delegates who were in the Congress Centre, there was this sense that we were keeping our powder dry. Business as usual, let's not do anything too crazy out there. From our delegation's perspective, and we were out there supporting a number of clients on the ground, everything kept coming back, in my opinion, and I don't know whether you guys would agree, but to that word trust. Trust was absolutely core and essential. And I think our colleague Dan Doherty coined the phrase corporate diplomacy because
Big need for that.
A big need for that sort of going beyond the kind of the sort of cross-party politics, actually having corporates come together, having individuals come together and meet in person was never more important than last week.
Now, Alli, you were watching from here in London. You did a string of broadcast interviews, I know, on trade. How was Davos being received away from the mountains?
I think that this is sort of a revived and enthused sort of Davos. I think this was not just a discussion, but an outcomes-focused sort of summit. And I think that some of the discussions that were taking place, both in terms of country-by-country diplomacy, corporate diplomacy, really started to take shape and materialize not only at the summit itself, at the conference, but also thereafter. So it almost seems like what was happening in Davos was setting the stage for that sort of sequencing of sort of geopolitical events to sort of actually take shape beyond the summit itself.
There is an irony, of course, to all this. For those of us who are in Davos, we're all fixated on Trump's arrival. But actually, one could argue that because of Trump's presence, this has really brought, many organizations, many governments together.
But it was interesting that I think that for all of the diatribes that were sort of chucked towards European leaders' way, it actually set the stage for some kind of resolution at the end of Davos. So we had all of the sort of the noise, but we actually had an outcome as well. And I think that will sort of certainly in the years ahead, perhaps revive Davos as a sort of forum, not just for debate and discussion, but also for sort of outcomes in terms of geopolitical exchanges between leaders.
From our perspective, our biggest delegation ever, supporting more clients than we ever have, which was incredibly exciting. A real need and a desire to be supported on the ground by professionals who know what they're doing and have had a slightly longer in the tooth and have been doing it a little while. In terms of a success story, it really was one. But now it's about, okay, we've done that. We've had that moment in time. How are we going to leverage it going forward?
And it's interesting to see that sort of, deals are being done at Davos. Davos has been made great again. That Davos was the sort of the linchpin to sort of go out and sort of carry on doing these sort of trade deals across the world. And I think corporates are now really realizing that summits are back, conferences are back. This is a place to actually get stuff done.
Davos is definitely back. Attention is already turning to WEF next year, WEF 2027. We will be there once again. So do let us know if you'd like support and advice planning your presence.